Well, hello. I'm not even sure if I'm on the air. I'll wait for Paul to let me know if I am or not. No intro music right now. Oh, there we go. The net's been a bit buggy here, so here, let me do the intro, because it just wouldn't be a show without it, wouldn't it? All right, here we go. Yeah, everything's perfect. Everyone's in such a hurry. Let me see. I just know the universe is setting me up for perfect timing every time, so there's no impatience in that. It's beautiful. Anyway, here's Only Hearts. Listen to it with Phoenician ears, and you'll actually hear the song. It's pretty cool, actually. Amazing what we know but aren't aware of when we know it. So here you go. Only Hearts, and we'll see you on the other side.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Yeah, I always like the few minutes of the intro song, etc., to sit back and contemplate where I want to go and which direction, and of course the direction always shows up. Many of you are probably familiar with the allegory of the story contained within having the patience of Job. And you see, these are vital life lessons to take into yourself. And then when you do, then you see the bigger picture of what it's really trying to tell you. So the story of the patience of Job is simply this. It was the story of an individual that had everything, was the wealthiest, blah, blah, blah. And as a test, quote, God, unquote, took all of that away and left him with nothing. And what did Job do? Well, Job knew that, the first magnetic electric intent into the goddess mind, you might call it million. I just know what it means from an energetic, right? Well, MI can be pronounced me, like origami, MI at the end of that, yeah? So we just changed that to the E, because I redefine my reality as I see fit. No one tells me what words mean to me. I define them as I cast the spells. And that's what they are. Every word is a spell, and contained within every word is a spell of some other intent that you were not aware of. So you got to be aware of these things, and you'll find how to change the intent through the sound. If you can make something sound like another letter, another word that has another definition, you'll find the magic contained in how to weave a negative into a positive. So that nothing in these words works against you any longer. So the patience of Job is quite simple. Good things come to those who wait. There was an aphorism that I posted. I get these things in from my emails, typically every day. It's Balthasar's Wisdom. Anyway, this one is the aphorism number 55, which is wait. And coincidentally, I was talking about exactly that earlier this morning. And the universe always comes around and confirms that the path is perfect. And when you start to see the perfect path, you have no fear. Everything is presented to you, but everyone's in too big a hurry to, they want this beautiful 7-course meal, luxurious in all of its finery, with the chefs and the sauciers and the fine aperitifs and desserts and all of the rest of it, and they're expecting to get that at a McDonald's fucking drive-thru. That's not how it works, people. So, aphorism number 55. Wait, now pay attention to this. This is telling you everything you really need to know. So I don't have any problems. What I have are things that I'm looking at in terms of perfect timing. I'll give you a couple of examples of this. Things that I've done to see this contrast. So, wait. It's a sign of a noble heart, dowered with patience. Never to be in a hurry. Never to be in a passion, emotional. First, be master over yourself, if you would be master over others. You must pass through the circumference of time before arriving at the center of opportunity. A wise reserve seasons the aims and matures the means. Time's crutch affects more than the iron club of Hercules. God himself chasteneth not with a rod, but with time. Remember, you're God, and him is him, feminine. Yeah, the divine feminine. Say, which is creation. Intent through the divine feminine. F becomes the S, etc., etc., etc. This is where you become, instead of being God's elf, you become God's self. And the allegories abound here. So this is what was quoted. He spake a great word who said, Time and I against any two. Fortune herself rewards with the first prize. That's how it works. Oh, looks like we got Ninja on the board. Get that mic opened. And we'll say hello to Ninja, and then we'll get a little deeper into the importance of seeing perfect timing instead of, hurry up, get out of my way, you know, that mentality. Yeah, we'll show you how to balance that nonsense out so that you can actually get in a place of peace and breathe. Oh, Ninja's having some issues with the internet, so you just got bounced. Okay, so I'll carry on here. You see, it's your job to wait. Phonetically, Job, same thing. Just depends on how you pronoun say it, right? For my creation in the now. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I can get into all the phonetic reasons as to why how supersedes what. What is just the electricity, it's just the energy. How is the creation into it. Give you an example. Towards the end, it happens all through the movie, but there was a prime example of what I'm trying to share with you today. When the main character, the sorcerer's apprentice, David, was racing to try and save Balthazar at the end of the movie, his mentor. And of course, he finds himself driving this beautiful Rolls Royce. Yeah, that's Roy Say, the king of creation. Yeah, Roels, that's the spirit breath of intent into the king of creation. It sort of works, doesn't it? Yeah, inexpensive car. Handmade, no less. Anyway, he's racing along through New York streets, and he comes into a traffic jam, as you will in New York. The arteries in that heart city are choking itself to death. It's a coronary. Happens every day. The heart stops, right? Anyway, so this Rolls Royce rolls up to the back of this traffic jam, and right in front of him is a cab that stops. Cab driver gets out. Like any good cab driver that's driving the divine feminine home, gets out of the cab, comes around the other side, and opens the door for an elderly lady who gets out. And of course, David's going, figures, And then, lo and behold, the cab driver reaches in to get the walker out. And then he says, of course, it has to be a walker. So, you see, the more you resist these things, the more these traffic jams you're setting up for yourself, you're adding weight to the weight. It's not a coincidence that those words mean the same thing. So what it's trying to teach you is this. When you allow creation to be your pilot, when you allow the Ka be, the spirit of the Christ consciousness, to be your driver, when Aladdin says, do you trust me? And you say yes, get on the magic carpet and everything is perfect. You allow all things. You don't put terms on them, because when you start honking the horn, you are turning the cab meter on. And that's the weight, the W-E-I-G-H-T, that you're adding to your fare. The fa-ri, that's the root note of the light of God within. You're adding the weight to that fare. And you will pay the price with your impatience. So just let things be. I don't get in a panic about anything because everything is perfect. I came on the air exactly when I was supposed to, because the universe sets me up for perfect timing, and I simply accept that. It's okay. Everything in my reality is for a reason. I know this. Everything in my reality is perfect timing. I know this. the left brain doesn't have a chance in this game. And yes, indeed, it is me and time against the world, the spiral. I can wait. The first prize is always worth it. When you learn that, then you can start collecting the Cupid dolls of a different nature instead of all of the pains and sufferings that you, slings and arrows of outrageous fortune that everyone goes around. And that's a difference of to be or not to be. You know, when you're in the position of taking the wheel and turning the meter on, telling the cabbie to take the scenic route off the main trail that's taking you home, oh yeah, you'll pay that price. That's a fact. Anyway, we got Ninja back here, and let's skip this back and forth a bit. How are you doing, hon?
Hi, Kate. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, baby.
Oh, perfect. Loud and clear and everything. Yeah. How's it going?
Oh, great. Yeah. I mean, last night I uncovered a couple of words for people that really I got a lot of feedback on it, really gave them some insight into why words work the way they do. I can prove every definition with phonics. It's very easy.
I actually heard a little bit of last night's show. Do you know, all the days run together. I can't remember which day it is. I don't know what time it is. I certainly forget often what month it is. Just totally just swimming in my own little world, you know. And these little moments of checking in, like on a Tuesday or, you know, whatever, suddenly you think, oh, is it already Tuesday? Oh, is it already nearly end of it? Oh, my goodness, really? Where's it all going? I don't know. It's interesting, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really the only thing that keeps me in any form of a schedule at all. It's like, you know, when am I supposed to be where? And that's really about it. And the other side of that coin is, if the universe says I'm not to be there, I don't stress about it. Someone will be. I mean, this is a table of the universe. Don't worry, God will show up in all its forms, be it through me or another point of view, me. So, again, this is really the space for me. I've been through it. I sent off a nice little spell today because I was in the mood for a little bit of low-key fun, you know. I like handing things back. I love catch-22s. They, you know, that's the damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, in the same way that I would say to somebody, keep thinking that, if you want, I'll actually read the letters. I read the one to the Special Investigations Unit, the two guys. I never heard back from them. I didn't expect to. I might this time, but who cares? I don't care either way because my reality is what I create, and it will not be interfered with. Anyone that's serving an external master, you know, any cop or whatever that gets a paycheck, a mayor, or any. You see, they have a master. I don't. I am the master. So that's the joy of this, because these feigned delusional positions that people hold through titles and offices, and all, they're just illusions. They were granted to them by another. It's not theirs. It's not their creation. They're sitting in a false impersonation of themselves within that title. So how powerful is that? Well, it's not. You see, that's for me the lowest in terms of servant. Now, there's an equal and opposite in servant, where it is a powerful beauty and it's a powerful ugliness. And the ones that are operating in title form are operating through the ugliness of what a servant is. It's a serf-ent, which is V, well, of, O-F, you can spell it UV, ultraviolet, because that's what it means. That's the phonics contained in it. So anytime I see an F, I can insert a V, and anytime I see a V, I can insert an F, because it can make that sound. I follow the rules by breaking the rules, because there are no rules, and they're all rules at the same time. It's a singularity. So serve becomes serf. Now you'll understand what a feud-all system is. What is a feud? Well, a feud is a fight between two people or a family, you know, the Hatfields and the McCoys, if you will. They even made a game show called The Family Feud, where they pitted two families against each other. Again, that's reinforcing the whole competition, play the game, play the game, play the game, and all along, those that are playing in that don't realize that they're the ones being played, and it keeps them in that competitive state, and will never reach a singularity because they are polarized, they are divided and conquered. They have no idea that there is a unification of energies that they are vehemently fighting against. It really, when you get there, it's so simple you wonder how you didn't. Yeah, go ahead, Ninj.
Yeah, the feudal system, the the all fighting amongst themselves system is still very much alive and well in most people's reality, it seems. Not for mine, but not for yours, obviously. Just like the old, bread and circuses, the sort of Roman, what do you call it, Colosseum, the games, the whole thing. We have it all the time. The Olympics, the Winter Olympics we just had in I don't even know where I won't watch it, but,
well,
I know it happened and everybody's pissed off because people are not getting the medals they're supposed to. And it's causing arguments and fights, and everybody's getting hate mail, and oh my gosh,
No, see, I don't. All I see is the conflict that is being created with the truth that is being flowed. I mean, it's so key, right? So the key, so life, and of course.
Oh, Kate, I have to stop you in mid-breath. My goodness, I've written that on my notepad. You are inside my head today. That is creepy.
Well, there's only one mind. What's creepy about love?
I know, but you just said so key. What exactly do I have written on my page? I have so key. Actually written on my page. I wrote it before the show started, only just before. And I've put stroke IO, stroke 10, stroke X, because I wanted to tell everybody that we have had a visit this week. What day is it? No, last week, from the first red fox we've seen, any fox we've seen on this land. And then a couple of days later, a different one, also red fox, came along. Now, fox, F, can be an S, so now we've got red fox. Now, so key, come along. And then you just said it, and I hadn't even had a chance to share that with you. There you go.
Again, these are the magical things.
And it was marking its scent. Yeah. It was marking its scent. We were watching, we took some photos, and we were also watching through the binoculars. And the first one just ran across and went up and away. And then the next day, this other one came. And I know it was a different one because the first one had some slight damage to the tail.
Yeah, well, let's stay on this.
To the note of love, ailing.
Ninja.
And
Ninja. We've got a time delay here. Let's stay on the scent of the trail, right? So look at what nature. Look what nature is telling you.
Okay.
It's saying the sow key.
Whoa.
Okay, so we have sown, as in to sow the seeds of life. We have sowed life into the say, creation, mine, and T, which is the note of love. So that's the sow key marking.
Yeah.
Right, and there's the horse. This is the year of the horse. Horse. Same thing, just depends on how you pronoun say it. And once you start repronouncing words, you change the entire intent. I'll give you an example. The word can't means spell.
Yeah.
In can't, ta, T-ion. I don't shun the can't, right? These are the tricks of the words that get us changing. What does the word shun mean? It means to push it away. So anytime you see a word that ends with shun, start looking at what you're actually pushing away. You're pushing away your own creation via the sound, because the intent of shun is contained within the sound of that word. All sounds create. All words create. All intent is contained within the sounds. Choose your intent wisely, right? So pronunciation, and there's none. That's the creator-destroyer, Egyptian goddess, right? Pro, none, say, or see, can be the unconditional note of love, or say, creation, which is the open sea, which allows all things in, all things out. Pro, for, none, creation or destruction. Say, at, goddess, I, oh, mine. Now the A I flip backwards and turn it upside down into creation consciousness of 9, because an A reversed to 6, flip it on its head, you got a 9. So my intent is contained only within reversing the hex and turning it into consciousness. So anytime the A is, anytime I type it, that's what the intent contained permanently in it is. So when you redefine the word, you've redefined literally your reality and what you're putting out there. And you will see these things start to manifest once you get the concepts, the with gods, the with set, with seven, right? Seven, I can prove why it's God. It's in the sound. Say, ve, en, which is say, creation, ve, truth, mine. The creation of truth, mine. That's what God is. You are God creating your truth. And if you live in lies, what are you going to get? Well, you're going to get the bed you lie in. You make the bed, and you choose. That's the fork in the road that everyone wants to talk about. What is the fork in the road, Kate? Well, this is the point where every time you make a choice, you have to stick a fork in the one you just finished. You must stay in motion, right? There's that shun word again. Okay, well, let's change it to mote ion. I've already changed the intent, so anytime shun comes up, it's pure intent. It's already mirrored. I just reverse the intent contained within the sound, and I make that my reality, where no one can change my reality, and certainly no one can define it. It's like the word repeat. Well, if you have to repeat something, aren't you bogging yourself down again? What is peat? It comes from a bog. Peat moss. I'm from Ireland. That was how, and still many people do, heat their homes with peat from the bogs. So when something is bogging down, it's mired. Admired. Yeah, it works. That's why admire all T is what the chord is about. It's to bog down all love and to make sure you're crucified. So I don't do that anymore. I just kind of get on the magic carpet and stay there. It's a much happier place to be. Now, for many of you, you're going to be wrestling with this in your left brains, trying to figure it out, and that's the last place you need to be looking. You see, that's the problem with truth. Most people cannot just simply accept truth. They have to justify it. That's the ego. Ego always wants to justify a position to make sure it's right or wrong. And that's the mind getting in the way of the true mind, which is the heart. If it feels right, it will certainly think right. You got to bring them together. The heart and the mind is only separated by the torus, or the throat. Now throw T. Are you throwing crucifixions, or are you throwing love? I mean, T is the double cross. T is the highest note on the scale, the 7-note scale. There's not 8 notes in the scale. There's only 7. There's 8 notes in an octave, which is octave. Cuts you in two. Your infinite cutting in two. And what happens when we go to the 8th note in the do, re, mi? Which brings you back to do. Now, just keep that love note climbing higher and higher and higher and resonate to the next note of T without going back to do. And it's a whole lot easier, and it's a whole lot more effective. Okay, so let's get back on track here. We were talking about feudals, feudals. Yeah. The words are the key to your game if you take the time. And a lot of people that I've asked don't even bother taking the time. They say, well, I looked at a word and I broke it apart, and yeah, it was actually fun. Yeah, so why'd you stop? Because the more times you do this, the more times you will see the magic as the words prove themselves in their intent that are literal, and then you can change that intent into what you want. What was the word I was going to use? I got a bunch of them. That's all I do. I just love breaking stuff apart. One I used last night. I was going to read that little letter too. I'll do that shortly. But anyway, do you know why it's an obituary? Well, because the spirit breath has been taken out of the eyes. The eyes, you have an orbit around your eye, the self, and that's like a planet. All the planets orbit. These are all the eyes, the selves, the all-in-one, one-in-all fractal. So if you take the spirit breath out of the orbit, you're left with the obit. Yeah, the obit, you are, obituaries. The spirit breath is gone from the light of God. The intent through spirit breath. Yeah, every word reads like a sentence once you start figuring this out, and then you start seeing what's going on. Now you can change the intent. A little game to play, and start treating this as a game. Okay, instead of taking it so serious. That's the sister star that you're at effect to. So take that, our sun and Sirius or binaries, and everyone's taking this place too serious. So stop it. Start playing the game. You'll see the magic soon enough, and when you see the magic, you'll have some fun with it. So if you want to have some fun with, let's say, a legal document, just for shits and giggles, try this on. You see, every document ever sent out from a court is open. It's wide open. It's not four-cornered. You can add and take away from it any time you want. The only time that you can't do that is when it's God's word. That's when you put the four winds on it, the four corners. It's very easy. Yeah, I hear you, Ninja. It's you're having a bit of an issue getting in and what have you. What I'll do is I'll try to bring Ninja in here and see if we can hold the call. But where was I going? That's a problem when I start multitasking. My brain goes off in a fractal. I wish I could just rewind. But anyway, it'll come back. Let's just wait to see if Ninja gets in this call. Yeah, she's having some issues with the net over there. All things for a reason. It's all good. I'd love to have her in the call more. Oh, not working. Anyway, getting back to the magic, the legal documents. That's what I was talking about. So it's an open document. It hasn't been four-cornered. It has no power. The only power it has is that which you give it. If you take the words literally and react to it, that's the problem reaction solution game. You see a problem, better react, and then you think the solution is playing that game, and that'll keep the dragon chasing its tail. Unfortunately, though, it's somebody else's story. It's somebody else's tail. You're chasing the wrong dragon's tail. You need to start writing your own. So the easy way to do this, and have some fun with it, and listen to your little voice inside. Well, I don't believe that could work, Kate. I don't. You see, that's the game you're playing. That's your problem. You believe. You just won't do. And you really don't have to do. For me, I don't do anything. I just play. I take that notion first, and whatever I'm playing at, there is pure intent of play, just to mess with people's universes that are quite willing to have their universes messed with. They wanted to mess with mine, so good for the goose, good for the gander, let's play. But I'm going to play at God level. You won't like me. You will love me, though. Because in the mirror of hate, you will always find love. That's why I don't have an issue with people hating me. Absolutely hating me. Because here's the thing. I'm the catalyst that can never be changed in the reaction. And there is a point that people reach in that hate that they see it, that they see what I'm talking about, and that hate instantly transmutes to its mirror. So like I said, if I can get you to hate me enough, just hate me enough, scream at me enough, oh, don't worry, I'll bubble that cauldron over to the point where you see it, and then you go, oh my me. And then all of a sudden there's a different viewpoint. You're not trying to beat up the truth anymore. That's all I'm doing is I'm just sharing the little gems that I find and putting it out there. So this document, here's the game. It's really simple. Let's say a document comes in. Or better yet, something gets posted on your door. It's open-ended. You will be evicted on such and such a date. That can create a lot of effect with people. But have a look at it. It's not sealed. It's actually sealed with their Midas touch DNA, whether they're aware of it. The last being that touched it that's under contract to the crown is all of the crown, the literal dead kingdom. So I don't care if it's any position. I don't care if it's anybody that, bylaw enforcement, baby cop, or what. It doesn't matter. If there's anyone involved that's got any connection to the Crown Corporation at any level, If it falls inside the city jurisdictions, it automatically is. What I'm trying to tell you is anyone that's acting in the name at all is part of the Dead Crown Corporation. And what is that saying? Service to principle is, you know the one, right? You're serving everybody, basically. You're dealing it back. Now, serving has got two things to it. Don't worry, I'll finish this concept. Serving is, when people think of it, they think of a servant, someone that walks around with a tray getting drinks and clearing tables and all the rest of it. Where I think of it as a tennis ace that is serving up an ace. What serving to me is. That's what it means to serve all. Slightly different perspective. And especially when you're serving all, you're already serving self. So let's take the line, you will be evicted on such and such a date. Well, it's open, so what you do is, between the will and the be, because they left space to create in, you put a little V there, because that's your vagina that you're creating. That's the intent. That's the violet. Not violent. That's the violet, or the violin. And then you write not. And if you want to be really specific, put beside it in brackets KNOT, and then draw a line through it. So there's no questioning your phonics intent. So now it is, you will not be evicted on such and such a date. And then just change all of the things that would work against you into how they will work for you. Once you've done that, and it's a fun game, it's phonics, it's all based in phonics, and you're working with Phoenician law here now, the real stuff, not this man-made literal shit. You're working with the power of the universe, not the force of legal. Force is the effect from power. Think of a power generation center, be it a nuclear, crazy-ass nuclear setup or a hydroelectric dam. They're called power plants, power stations. They're not called electrical force stations because they're telling the truth. Power comes from magnetism. And all of these power-generating centers use dynamos, which are spinning magnets to create electricity, the effect. Power, magnetism is the cause. Electricity is the effect. And everyone thinks that electricity is the cause because it creates lights to turn on and stuff. No, that is the net effect of the power plant of the magnet. And once you understand the true magnet and magnetic nature of yourself, you'll understand the power you're wielding from a power source versus an electrical intent. And those are typically found in emotions. If you are emotionally attached to these things, you're killing yourself. So now you have the document written back, because it's, like I said, it's open. Excuse me. It's open to interpretation, so start interpreting the law. Otherwise, they'll interpret it for you, and it won't be what you like. This is how you get your power back. So now that you've changed it to work for you, have a giggle while you're doing it, too. Because what you're doing now is not only changing the document, but you're changing your heart, because you are changing it to a positive intent from you, where these words lose their effect on you. To the degree that you can be affected by someone else's words is the degree that you will be at effect to them. Their cause, your effect. So, time to turn the tables, Jesus. Turn the table in the temples, you know? So flip it over, flip the coin, you know? Instead of seeing tails come up all the time, that's an easy guess for someone that's tossing a coin. You can win that every time. If you knew that tail was going to show up every time, how many times are you going to bet on it? Every time. Now all of a sudden, the tables are turned. Because when you flip the coin, you've turned it to the head, the dragon head. They were betting on you biting the tail. And instead you send back the head. So now that you've got this changed in a beautiful energy that works perfectly for you, you've changed your energy within, which is the key here. Now you four-corner it. And it's really easy to do. Just initial each corner. Make a mark. It doesn't have to be a name. It just has to be an intent. I don't care if you draw little stars. I don't care if you draw bunny rabbits at each corner, because it's the intent that is shown through the effect of the writing, whatever it is. So throw a little intention into the four corners. Throw it to the four winds. And don't forget, turn the paper over that's blank, because that's empty space. And you could actually write your own little thing in there if you want. And then four corner it. And take the very same document and fire it back. Case file number and all. Wait till you see what happens. Won't you be surprised? This is where we're at now. This system is done. That goes without question. And on that little note, I'm going to read a little something as to how Kate plays the game and has a bit of fun playing it, you see. So where is it? Let's see. Did I put it all in one? Letter to SIU, Hex Mirror. Let me see. I know I have it here somewhere. Cutting 3Ds. No, got that. Oh, there it is. It's hiding up in the top. Okay, so this was a little letter that I shared. For those that were tuned in last week, I read out the SIU letter I wrote to Derek and Claude, who at that point were not named. Now they are. That's the DC, the direct current. So I know I'm flowing it right into mainline energetically. As you see, I look for the clues in the names, and I know what both sides of their names are, because I can find the Christ and the Antichrist in everyone's name. They and you will determine which one you want to use. It's quite easy. You can see the positive the God that you are, or the negative God that you are. And what you are creating is all based on which version of the name, truth shun, verse ion, or verse shun. Ver being truth, verse being verse, which is the truth of consciousness. Right? It's all there. Now you can start seeing the words of sentences. So that's your verse ion, IO being 10, X key, right? Roman numeral 10. And of course the 10 of binary. All computer code is based on it. The whole universe is based on this concept. It's energy. It's magnetic and electric. So anytime I see IO, that's the ancient goddess, the most ancient, the void, the chaos, creation itself. The core magnet. The power that cannot be seen but permeates all things. It's carried on sound waves. You want proof of that? The ego goes, give me some proof. Okay, well, here it is. I think I explained the experiment last week. Here I might not have, but let me explain it again. Guy goes into, and this is a science experiment that was actually done. It happened, well, as far as I know, based on my observations of somebody else's story. But I know how to read the other stories, so I only take things that matter to me into me. So anyway, this guy goes into a cathedral with a helper, a couple of bells, tuned to perfect A, 432. And what he wanted to prove was that resonance will travel through vacuum where sound will not. So what he did was he set them up at opposite ends of the cathedral, rang the bell, and the other bell at the other end of the room inside the vacuum chamber that still had air in it resonated with it. You could see the bell shaking, and the sound waves resonated. But he wanted to prove something else. He wanted to prove the invisible. He wanted to prove the true power of resonance. And what he did was he removed all the air from the other bell. It was encased in a vacuum bell. A bell within a bell, isn't that funny? Because sound cannot travel through a vacuum. You've probably done the science experiments at school as a kid or whatever. And did the same thing, and lo and behold, the bell reacted. Pure resonance came through. So anyway, let me get this. It doesn't want to work today. What's going on? There we go. I think it'll open up now. Okay, so there's your proof about sound being the carrier wave And the resonance, the true magnetic, is the main line that sound is carried on. The resonance is the intent from the magnetic source, you. And this is how you carry your intent, the invisible intent, through the sound. You just kind of match up the sound to the intent. And the only way you're going to do that is to redefine the sounds instead of continually putting out the energy of someone else's intent, someone else's dragon tail. Start writing your own dragon tail. And then you can start riding your own dragon. Write the tail, ride the tail. Ride the dragon. And it works so perfectly, it's crystal clear. All right, so here's a little something I shared just before the show, actually. I was trying to get this done. Okay. Hey, Brian and crew. By the way, Brian Larkin, he's the current master of the sled called the Guelph Police Force. It's funny, even the one shouting mush to all the dogs has to look at all the assholes, just like the lead dog. You know, the lead dog is the only one that doesn't have to look at the assholes of the other dogs. It's really funny. It's quite the mirror when you start to look at it. So woof woof. Enjoy those assholes. Here we go. Hey, Brian and crew. I thought I'd share a little note I sent the SIU a few days ago. Do you know what criminals hate? They hate being caught, and will not usually fess up until such a time as they can't hide from their own internal wars of doubt and self-guilt, coupled with ongoing exposures. They also live in the illusion of getting caught as somehow being impossible, based on their illusional and delusional positions of power that they got from a master above them. There are two roles to play here, one of master and one of slave. So if you get a paycheck, you have a master controlling your destiny. Pretty simple, really. That's the joy of the all-mind. No one escapes, and no one escapes too. The seeds you have all planted for yourselves in your gardens of discord are coming into spring, where they will blossom, and your just fruits as well. This is what happens with the golden rule, and now you'll see. It is my wish that all your prior wishes now come true, where that which you have wished upon another is now your harvest and miracle, or miracle. It would be better if you actually knew Phoenician, but regardless, you understand them as all must stand under the laws of creation, something you, in your blindness and ignorance, fail to realize. You all may think that getting caught is impossible and that through your illusional, quote, power, cause, called force, effect, you're safe from these immutable laws. But then you've missed the point of creation, then haven't you? Alas, I have tried and tried to allow you to become heroes from the villains you are, but you have traded your souls for your intent of greed, not caring who was harmed or why, as you blindly followed orders from your masters to bolster your own selfish thefts of creation itself. The mind follows rules, whether or not they are right, where the greed of advantage makes it so, whereas the heart only sees truth and what is truly right in the betterment of all. Pretty easy, really. But at least now you know where you're standing, and so does the pendulum that is swinging back as per your creations. How neat is that? LOL. Now, think back to the times where you thought something impossible that became possible. I didn't put this in here, but here's a little aside. Did you ever think it was possible that you would be the chief of police in Guelph as a little boy living down the road from me, Brian? Probably not. If I'd have said to you on the street, one of those little Christmas parties that your mom and dad, my mom and dad, and the other UKers on the street came and gathered at, if I said that to you, Brian, one day you're going to be the chief of police, you would have looked at me and said, that's it, that's impossible. Yeah. So I guess it is possible, huh? Imagine that. Anyway, back to the letter. There's so much for the notion of impossibility, since you just showed yourself that impossible things do happen all the time. Fact. Here's a short list of things you thought impossible, now possible. Going to jail for your crimes. The collapse of your systems that control you. The masses awakening to your crimes that will likely not be as peaceful as me. The exposure of all your dirty laundry, where I am but one cog in your machine of past and continuing crimes. I mean, really, if standing in the truth and exposing crimes against humanity cost me my family, home, and countless things you stole, just imagine what you can expect from your choices, eh? Me, I'm just sitting back and watching your delusional world crumble daily and laugh as I report this unfolding reality. No, it will be you that will put things right for me and others, because that's what you chose to be servant. Or sorry, that's what those who chose to be servants do. They serve by their own free will choice. Your word is your bond after all, eh? Please focus on this being an impossibility, because either way, you empower my reality in that the more you think it to be impossible, the more power you put into it being inevitable. After all, nothing is impossible. It is inevitable. And you are experiencing an impossibility in your own realities. Make this true. Seriously. You plant ragweed and poison ivy and you're expecting a bed of roses? Your catch-22 harvest is ready. Enjoy. Oh, and P.S., please remain silent as usual. It empowers the impossible even more, LOL. Oh, and how's that steroid methadone problem the Guelph police has going? That was some crack investigating there with drugs in cops' lockers and no one knew. Ha, 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 ha. That's some awesome detective work going on there. But then it's hard to chase criminals with so many wearing knee pads, eh? Have a nice day. So that was what I fired off, just because it's fun to do. Oh, you know, Buckingham Palace got it and a bunch of other places, Vatican and stuff. You know me, I like to send it to everybody to make sure that the intent is there. And I also included the little spell that I wrote, the Phoenician, unbreakable Phoenician spell, because only I know what's contained in it. Only I know the intent that was placed in it through the different definitions of Phoenicians that I know how to use and twirl in against themselves. See, that's the joy of understanding Phoenician. When you can redefine a word to mean what you want it to mean, and only what you want it to mean, to carry that sound, that resonant magnetic wave carrier, that's where the truth really punches through. And the best part is, the name of God is unknowable. The way of God is unknowable. My way is unknowable. It's really that simple. We got Ninja. Hey! Going to be a time lag on this one, I think. Do we have you, Ninja?
Yeah, hi, Kate.
There you are.
I don't know if this will last, but anyway, here I am back again. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, see that there's a time lag there. So just remember that and keep that in mind when you're talking. To just it's about a 3-second, 4-second delay. So yeah, did you catch what I just read? Ooh, serious time lag.
I did. I deliberately didn't rejoin the call until I'd listened. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get off the call and just listen because this isn't working. So I'll sit back and enjoy. Okay,
hon. Yeah, it's don't know what it is. Anytime that Ninja and I have a conversation on Skype, there's always that 3 to 8 second delay between, so it makes it rather difficult to have an ongoing conversation. But I'll tell you, at least you get a chance to sit and listen in to what's going on. You get to dwell on the time of it. But really, when you understand this, how to turn a word over on itself, you change everything that you thought was negative into a singularity, positive for yourself. Choose the road you want, right? That's the fork in the road. And that's the letter Y. This is what it means to be wise, right? Y of creation. Y say. All right. So imagine you're walking on a line. You come to a conclusion. You can call it a victory or whatever, and that's your fork in the road. So stick a fork in it. It's done. You want to sit around and rest on the laurels. Don't worry, you'll head into bandyman's land, no man's land. So once you see that, then reset your target. Pick your next one, and that creates a branch. Always do a Y at the fork. And of course, you've got two paths to take, one being of the negative and one being of the positive intent. Me, I walk the positive. And occasionally you have to be on the negative too, because the negative is the void of creation. But you do that from a positive singularity position. It's actually neutral. When I hit the Y junction in the road, I hit it from a singularity viewpoint. So what I'm looking for is the betterment of all. And for me, I have to sit and dwell on something, look at it from as many different perspectives as I can to see the greatest outcome, where I'm not trespassing on the free will choice, and I'm not going to get caught up in the trickery of words mirroring back on themselves. So I'm very patient when I do something. When I write something, I write it with a completely different intent, a completely different understanding of what it is I'm writing. I used the word cant earlier. What I am canting. That's why they have a decanter for booze, because, of cant-er, which is, what is booze? We've called it spirits, right? But it might get you in high spirits, but you certainly don't feel in high spirits if you had too many high spirits the night before or the next morning. So it works against itself, right? It can certainly get you into a state of mind of, deeper thinking. You've heard all the barroom philosophers, right? You get a few too many in them, then what happens? They don't make much sense after a while. But anyway, there's decanter, like a wine decanter. D meaning to undo, or of, cant, spell, spirit creation. E, consciousness reversed, right? Flip the E over, and lowercase e becomes a 9. So there's your 9, your consciousness, Io, goddess, and R, which is spirit breath. Ro, that's the putting out into the torus, from the torus, your mouth, through the pearly gates, into the torus field that you're creating. You create the world around you. You are a walking, talking, spinning magnet in a toroidal field that encompasses all of the universe. All of the universe. And all these different points of you. And that's the electrical symbol, U, the letter U, reflects in me, the magnetic electric. So this is why this is all about you and all about me at the same time. Funny how that works, isn't it? It's almost like it was meant to. Of course it was. What I'm showing people is the inevitability versus the impossibility. I tell you, there was a point in time that I would have thought that what's happening with the words and playing right now, English major, history major, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I would have said that this is impossible. Yes, indeed. So much for that impossibility. It's inevitable. Just like everything in your life is inevitable. There are no possibles and impossibles. There is only inevitable. Now, let's look at the word inevitable. Here, I'll grab it. I like writing things out as I go. I seem to explain them better this way. So let's take inevitable. Show and tell, right? So if I can see it, I can tell it. Inevitable. All right, so let's get your crayons out and let's have a look at this word. I'm going to take my number 11 scalpel to it, and we'll bust it up into a couple of different syllables, or the many-headed hydra, Scylla, bulls, toroidal fields, Taurus the bull, right? So that's what a syllable is. It is a many-headed hydra with infinite intent. It will pick you off your ship. Take your mast, take your steering, take all of it. The ship is the mind. It will pick off your mind, literally. So I've tamed Hydra, not by cutting off the heads, but by taking out its heart. Any dragon movie you see, there's always one weak point right at the heart. There's always a chink in the armor at the dragon's heart. So stop trying to cut off the dragon's head, or the Hydra's head, because the tail's just going to come back in a wild fray and it's going to wipe you out anyway. Besides, the head you cut off is going to grow 2 more. And people wonder why they have issues in legal and whatever. Those heads sprout really quick. And they will consume you. So let's go to inevitable. So I have IN. I'll just do a literal, and then I'll start expanding it fractally for you, and then you'll start seeing things a bit differently. So put a line between in and Eve. So in Eve, I. So you got the in, stroke a line, EV, stroke a line, I, stroke a line, ta, stroke a line, bull. So now let's write the sentence out. We have in, Eve, I. Well, you can just do table if you want. We'll do table first before we get into the gratitude of the toroidal field. In Eve, I table. Oh, okay, so what is Eve? Well, Eve is what Eve is. Have a look at it. Well, you've got the 9 on each side of it, so consciousness on each side of creation, and V, of course, Ve means truth. So that's what Eve is. It's the creation of truth. That's what love is, the law of truth. Law, Ve. And too many people are shopping at Laws R Us. Oh, who was Lazarus? Right. Right, the dead. So you got to bring your Laws R Us back to life. Toys R Us, Laws R Us, where are you shopping? All right, so we have in, which, well, that can be to be part of, being positioned with things around you. You're in it, okay? So, or it means not as a prefix. So when you say inevitable, what you're doing is actually negating it without understanding this. So I just turned it into its positive by saying part of. To take part. Okay? So in, to take part. I'm involved. I'm in the game. So I removed the negative intent, where as a prefix it means not. So now I've nullified it into a positive. So let's take care of that. So now it's a positive instead of an assumed, could be assumed and presumed negative if you didn't understand this. I understand sound. So now we have in Eve. So now we are taking part of consciousness creating truth in consciousness. I, well, that's yes, A-Y-E. That means yes. It means that you can see it, E-Y-E. And there's that E again. It keeps coming up, huh? And it means I, the self. The all-in-one, the all-saying I, the all-creating I, the self. That's what you are. You are the all-creating I. You know that pyramid on the back of the $1 bill with the I above it? That I, that's you, dummy. But everyone, oh, it's the elite, so yeah, I'll bust up elite for you and show you exactly what it really means. And it's got many, many different layers. What are you choosing, the negative or the positive? Where can you see the singularity? So now we have the in Eve I. So it's yes. So to take part in consciousness, creating truth in consciousness, I put on the table, baby. Put on table. That's great. Let's take it a bit further. Let's take table and put a line between ta and bowl. Well, ta is thank you, gratitude. We say that all the time in Ireland. Ta. A lot of places in the world. Excuse me. If there is an intention contained within a sound that is accepted by others, there is a spiritual agreement. If I walk into a restaurant in Ireland and ask for something, they give it to me and I say ta, and they go, no problem. They know I said thank you. So that intention is contained within that sound. Ta means gratitude. It means a lot of other things too. But I just use the intent that works only for you in your reality. For me, it's gratitude. Now, BLE can be pronounced blay or blee, but I just go with the sound that it makes, because that gives it away right off the bat. Inevitable. You don't say inevitably, inevitable. You say inevitable. What is bull? Well, bull is a Taurus. Taurus the bull. That intent is contained within bull. You just saw it. The bull is for the sign of Taurus. What is Taurus? Well, it's a creation field. Depends on how you spell it. They use the Greek Tao, right? And there you have the Chinese Tao, creation. Okay? And you have Tao are us. Laws are us. Toys are us. Yeah. Anyway, so you have the Tao, but Taurus, let's take the same sound and start spelling it differently, casting a different spell with it containing a different intent. You have Taurus, as in a torus field. What is a torus field? It's the magnetic field of creation. That's 0 point. Magnetic field of creation. Sorry, just writing it down. I like making notes. Magnetic field of creation. So now the word inevitable has a few more definitions contained in it, and probably a whole lot more that you were unaware of. But now that you're aware of them, you can start to see the intention. And the easiest part about this is seeing the in as a prefix, meaning not. Well, I don't want any of that shit. But I can also flip the not into a positive by putting a K in front of it, the spirit, Ka. So now it's a double positive. So basically, when you not something, you're tying yourself to it. Oh yeah, I have no problems tying myself to the creation of consciousness, truth in consciousness, that I have gratitude in the torus field. Not a problem at all with that. So I've even taken the negative and spun it, what could be a negative. Now a not, well, that's something that can bind you unwillingly, or something that you can tie yourself to. You see, I'll show you the good side of a not and the bad side of a not. It's simply this. You might understand a bit more about nautical miles, by the way. Not I call miles. Yeah, I thought so. Someone could, like in the movies, come in, they'll tie you to a chair and they'll tie you in knots, right? Not a very good thing to be tied down, and that's typically what the language does. You're basically tied to that chair, unable to move. I broke free. And now, to show you a good side of it, imagine you're out in space, and you have to open the hatch, which all the air is going to escape. Well, you better tie yourself down, and you better make damn sure that it's a good knot that you've got in it too, because it's going to save you. So the same concept contained within a knot is something that can bind you and destroy you, or something that can bind you and save you. At the same time, it's a singularity. So look for the 0 point of the positive and the negative contained within the word. Once you take a word and reverse its original intent that you assumed under common and general usage, you have now redefined and nullified that word. It's pretty easy, actually. Oh, and tone deaf has nothing to do with it. You're not tone deaf. No one's tone deaf. You have the illusion of it. Love it. Just going to get to the board here and see if I should do the shout out for people to come in. For those that do want to call in, UK, the phone number is 347-326-9530. And for those that want to call in via Skype, if you're on the Blog Talk page, just hit the Skype button. If it's not there, refresh the page. It'll show up, then call in that way. Once you're on the board, you can hit 1 on the dial pad of the phone, or open the dial pad in Skype and hit 1 there. And I'm going to pause at this moment and see if I can find the right one here for a station identification. There's a few more here than I'm used to seeing, so... Paul, if you're around, you got the board open. If you want to hit the right one, you know the one. I think it's the minute 31. I just want to... Paul's going to bail me out. I can feel it. I'm such a lazy host. I'm too busy thinking and doing what I do. Let me see. I'm not sure if this is the right one. No, that's not it. That's not it. Paul's scrambling to get the board open. I can feel it. Not the resistance one. Unless you got different times on these, I have no idea. But anyway, bottom line is this. If Paul can get it going, great. If not, guys, great big thank you to Paul Giovanni and the crew at Critical Mass Radio. Guys, you are changing this planet. You are changing the entire reality at this table. I watch it every day. And without this table being here, the impossible wouldn't be the possible that it is right now. So anything you guys can do to help out at criticalmassradio.co.uk, you got real easy options here. One, you can subscribe for free and get the word out to everybody. That's great. Appreciate it. The more the merrier. Two, and by the way, everything, all the shows, everything, it's all free. It's all free. There's no obligations here. That's the thing about truth. It cannot have any obligation attached to it external. The only thing you have the obligation to do is stand in it or not. That's the real deal. That's yours, though, not mine. I stand in it, and I watch this world change because of it. But if you can, greatly appreciate it. You can subscribe, £1, £2, £3 a month, which works out to about, I don't know, $1.50, $1.75, up to, say, $4 a month. So if you can give up one of those $5 lattes a month, there you go. You can actually help change the world and really make an impact, really make a difference. So please do. And if you don't want to do the monthly subscribe, well, there's a donate button there as well. And everything and anything that comes flowing at this station is instantly transmuted into pure energy, going out with the pure intent to change this place into a more benevolent, way more playful playground, which I think I might get some agreement on with people. That's my intent anyway. I'm tired of watching this crazy merry-go-round for so long, almost 5 decades, to the point now where I'm watching everything crumble down around as we slide our time realities lateral. You see, that's the thing too. When you change your now, you're actually shifting into one of the infinite timelines that are available, and they shift every instant of now. This is how amazing we are. We only had forever to figure this out, so of course we figured it out, and we did this all with one word. Imagine what we could do with 2 or even a sentence. So you can start to get an idea of the next levels that we're playing and moving to. You start to get your children's eyes back. You start daydreaming. And there's something else I'd like to share with people. So many people are focused on the problems that they think they have. And that is in training your mind. That is something that is negatively affecting you, that you are pouring all of your attention and energy into, and as a result, you are creating it. How about you take a break? Take a little break for you, a little me time, a little magnetic electric creation time. And start writing out your story. You can write it out something like, once upon a time, I'm writing it down, once upon a time, and then start creating your reality, what you want to see. This is where, when you get into this space and you start seeing the manifestations, because they're always there, what you're doing is choosing to see that creation that already exists. This is the world of the mind, right? You've changed your intent. Now you're focusing on the things that you want to see happen for you. A couple of things to keep in mind. One in particular, the golden rule. That which you wish upon another, you wish upon yourself. That's why I simply mirror back everyone's wish. I'm the one wish grant. Your one wish is granted. And at that point in your life, well, that's all the wishes that you've ever made up to that point, as they all come into one wish. So some will be getting a little easier than others based on a life path of intention versus what they're doing right now. So write your story, write your dragon tale. So you can ride your magic carpet, ride your dragon. All right? When you focus on the good, the things that you wish, the things that you want to be part of, instead of being bogged down in all of the day-to-day nonsense and shite that you got wrapped up in, to give you a game. Remember, this is a game. The entanglements that you are in were all chosen to experience the same story. We're all telling the same story. Everything you see around you is the same story. Every movie, although it has a different title, is telling you the same story. Once you put on the energy eyes to see it, to see the dance of the magnet and the electric dancing together in the quad, the four, right? Positive, negative, feminine, positive, negative, masculine. X marks the spot, and where you need to be is dead center on that scope. When you get the singularity, that means your sniper scope will hit a bull's eye every time. Bull, a toroidal field creation. Yes. Eye. A-Y-E. That's what bullseye, well, one of the things that bullseye means. Most people think it's hitting the center of a target. Well, you kind of are, aren't you? The say, creation, and mine, tree. T-R-E, you can pronounce it tree. So that's the creation of my tree. That's what it means to hit dead center. Now, you re-pronounce that into deed. E-A can have an E sound, like mead versus bread, right? Isn't that neat how that works? It does it in everything. Then you start exposing the energies. So this is where you hit deed, say, and tree. Yes, it is magic of the highest order. This is what it means to be Merlinian. And I can go on for hours on that alone. The important thing is to breathe. Most of you don't take the time to do that. You're too busy caught up in the quagmires of life. And it is my wish that you would slow down. Just take your time. That 7-course, delectable, absolutely delicious meal with dessert and all the trimmings and the beautiful table and all of the finery and the best wines and everything. You're not going to get that in a McDonald's fucking drive-through bag of shit. I promise you. You cannot drive up to the window and expect this. No, you have to change your destination. You have to change where you're going to eat all the time. If you drove up to a McDonald's window and asked for Chateaubriand, medium rare, and I'd like some hors d'oeuvres, maybe can you do up some escargot, a little light on the garlic, and of course a Caesar salad. I'd like made with real anchovies, of course not, but anyway. And I want it made in front of me. Excuse me. And take a nice 1989 Merlot. Decant it, please. Not in the bottle. Please decant it so it has a chance to. Now you keep that going at a McDonald's drive-through, and you won't get through the first couple of words, and they're going to think you're fucking loony. And that's what you are, expecting the truth, the caviar of the universe. You're expecting the caviar at the McDonald's drive-through or whatever other slop shop that has this option. No, you've got to change a few things. You've got to change what you wear, the agreements that you make. You have to change what you drive. Let the chauffeur do it instead of you. You have to change the location, the restaurant, in a different location. That's the table. This table is that table. Do not come here looking for burger slinging. You will not get that. You want burger slinging? Then you head over to Alex Jones and these other guys that are talking about reptiles and reptilians and all the rest of it, missing the allegory. I got to bring this up because it's so funny. This whole thing about the reptilian and, well, there's reptilians. Yes, absolutely they are. They're thinking with the reptilian brainstem. That's the allegory. They're thinking with the cerebellum, the Ceres, the three-headed dog, Cerebus, right? That is your three-headed dog, your three fates. There's two of those heads you have to cut off so that you can walk that dog properly, not worry about it biting your ass. Two of them are angry. They're the two outside ones. You've got to get the dead center, the peaceful one. That's the tamed Fluffy, right? Yeah, the reptilian brainstem is what they're referring to with all this reptile and all the rest of this crap. I talked about Nibiru, what the true Nibiru is. It's coming to Earth, yeah. Well, that's the Ibi-Uru, the Mai Ibi-Uru. Nibi. Ibi are the feather people. Check out Dan Winter's work, Robert Mornis guy. They're telling you that allegory in a very literal way, but I see the energy in it. I know exactly what it's trying to tell you. It's trying to tell you to balance yourself out, right? What did you think Nibiru was? You thought it was a planet coming? Of course, everything's fractal. So look at things from a fractal. Things come into the heart. Well, Nibiru is coming towards Earth. Well, that's heart just rearranged a little bit, isn't it? Earth is the ear of God. Ear, theos. And I know why the H represents it. I should probably talk about that in a later show tonight, because I went through the letters and started busting the real hidden intents as to why they're shaped the way they are, what the energies are that are contained in them, and how to spin this magic to undo the Rumpelstiltskins of this world. Oh, we got Mark on the board here. I'll crack that open. I always like to hear from Mark. I'm surprised James is not here. I can see Vincent's number on the board. And hey, Ruby, how are you? Mark, how are you doing?
Hey, Kate.
We having fun?
Beautiful truth once again. Hitting the nail.
That's a Louisville Slugger out of the park, baby.
Yeah, it just gets better, Kate, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it does.
You can clarify the picture so far, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see. I'm used to that effect, because what happens is people begin to see the fractal, and that's the magic. You begin to see the wow. Look at that go. You start to see the real world, the real spiral. WHIRLED. That's what a word is. It's word round and round and round. Look at that toy spinning. It's whirring. Look at the planet. It's whirling. It must be a world created by a word. All creation is sound, light included. That's why light is an effect. It's not a cause. The sun is not cause. It's effect. And how many people are looking at the sun going, oh, the sun's doing this and the sun's doing that. I better keep myself safe. And you're the one creating it, doofus. That's your mirror. That's your reflection. The calmer the sun is, the better. Because that shows me the effect of my cause of calming things down. And the big truths that come out, those are the X-flares, baby. You see many of those? Yeah, they show up now.
It's still important, Kate, for us to
step back.
For all of us. Yeah, I'm certainly going to do that shortly, and just to put some reflection on it.
Well, the question
it's what hits me now is the contrast as an aspect, because we've all been through some shit, but it is a contrast. But then you have to perhaps reflect on how big is your shit compared to somebody else's shit, and it's that reflection. Ultimately coming to your 0 point, Kate. Sitting on the rim, standing on the rim, and having it's coming to a point where you can start creating your reality, co-creating your reality, and another way you exemplify it is in the phonics, is in the words, is having intent behind it, is speaking it, is knowing your intent.
This is the core key to the game. This is the heart key. This is the key to the game. The universe is created with sound. And here's a question I like to ask people. How can you find peace in the world if you can't find peace in yourself?
Exactly.
You are the reflection of the world around you. So the more peace I find in myself, the more peace I see around me. That's why when I send things out now, it's sent out with that. There you go, have fun, play. There's the kangaroos, let them play around in your mind. And then, hopefully you'll sort it out for yourself and you'll stop doing the things that are harmful to your, not only others, but to yourself. I mean, these people don't understand that they're destroying their own lives, their own kids' lives, their families' lives, their friends' lives, and they think they're actually doing a good thing by doing that. I'm just pointing out the obvious. Not a good thing. Might want to stop doing that.
I started to watch the first part. I haven't got very through. I didn't need to after reading what you wrote on what Michael Tellinger posted, and just listening to that lawyer go on and on. I mean, like you said, they don't know what they're doing to themselves, their families, their fellow man. Fucking hell.
Well, even look at the word talk. Let's prove a few things out for people, because I everyone takes the word so literally. You got T-A-L-K, which can be pronounced talk, right? But let's have a look at it from the Greek perspective. Ta, I already said that one. Ta ka, which is the toroidal field of spirit. What are you creating when you talk? Well, everything. Now talc or talcum powder is a very, 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 very fine powder. It's almost, if you were to put talc in a bucket and put your hand in it, it would feel wet. And for other women out there are certain products that you can get that are powder, and when you put them on, they actually feel wet, but they're bone dry. But because they're so fine, they have the same effect as water. So there is the talc creation. Water. And what is powder? Well, power. Are you the flower or the flower of life? Are you happy being a flower planted by someone else and growing in someone else's image? Or are you going to be the flower of the new life where you're creating your own field of dreams, your own bed of roses? Rose say. So what else do we have around the toroidal field? Well, you have the teeth, which are the pearly gates. Now, even the word peace has its, peace or pieces, right? You've got the P, the EA, and then of course you have the say. That's creation. Anytime you see or hear the sound say, S-A-Y-C-E with an apostrophe, S-E as in Latin, pro se, that sound is creation. Absolute creation, right? That is unconditional love into consciousness, C-E. E reversed is 9. Now, let's look at the P. Well, you have the P, which for me is the opposite mirror of Rho. So I can pronounce it Reese. Reese's Pieces? Just a coincidence. So now we have Rho, which is spirit breath. That's the sound, the vibration. It's a very special Greek letter. Rho, it means spirit breath. And EA, there's your 96 instead of the 69. You know what happens with the 69? You end up eating each other. It's time to do a little back-to-back here, don't you think? Let's have a little bit of fun and take all the nonsense out of the way. And it works. Everything works literally once you understand how to reform it in your mind. Look around it from a different perspective. So now we have the Rho, the spirit breath of consciousness reversing the hex in creation. That's what peace, that's why the word is what it is. I've just proven the word.
The thing is, which you are an enabler, Kate, is for perhaps people to start putting their own intent into their, be it written words, obviously.
Well, let's look at an enabler.
You know,
right?
Yeah.
Here, let's break it down. I'm going to prove why you're right. I love proving people right all the time. N means it's mine. It's a possessive letter, and it means to the infinite, nth degree. So mine infinitely. Able, well, there's your divine right mind. That's your Cain and Abel. You're quite able to walk there. And by the way, ab means ab initio, since. Okay, that's psi en se, which is se en se, which is creation, my creation. Ab, Latin, since, as in ab initio, since beginning. And you have L, which is intent. And spirit breath, again, rho. So tell me enabler doesn't mean that. The infinite, my creation, going into, with intent of spirit breath of others. You're damn straight. There, we'll put a little check mark. Give me another one. I love this game. And it's so easy when you just get out of the spelling, literally, and get into the phonics, sonically, and you go, wait a minute, there's another hidden sound in there. I'm going to spot them. And then you start looking at all the rules of the letters, all the rules of the different languages, all the different meanings, the different definitions of Phoenician instead of un-Phoenician. So if you live by another's definition, well, it's not de-Phoenician, is it? It's not of your creation. So this is how we form our world.
Another interesting one, Kate, is dialects.
You just hit the master key. You just hit the master key.
You're from Ireland. You can empathise that you don't in these isles. You can sometimes travel 10 or 20 miles, and the dialect will be like I just entered another planet. But that's exactly what Twiz was talking about. Twas.
Yeah. Twas. As in it was, Now, here, let's look at the word. I started earlier. I want to finish this before we roll out of here. We got about 9-10 minutes here. The word can't means a positive spell. It is actually a cause. Can't means to cause. I can't do that. I do that. You damn straight. Instead of putting a question mark behind it, put an exclamation mark, and you'll change the entire intent. And what you nailed there was the the accent, right? Which changes. It was funny. I was watching Star Trek Into Darkness, and was it that one or which one was it? Anyway, the individual might have been a different movie. Individual was East Indian, and the way he said "fuckalty" was "fuck all love," right? And see, this is a magic when you start listening with new vampire ears. Those are your real eyes. Your ears are your eyes, and your eyes are your ears. Just change the roles of your eyes and ears, and you'll see this. This is where you cross your I's and dot your T's, okay? So when you say, I can't do that, you've actually created it. You didn't know it, but you created it. So, but if you create with a negative, thinking that can't is a negative, you just created the negative. When you say you can't do something, absolutely, it's done. Change the intent. Turn it to a positive. Take the impossible and make it I'm possible, because nothing is impossible. It's inevitable. There was another word, accent. Look at the word accent. All right, which is the alternating current of creation, mine in love. A-C-C-A-N-T. And of course, your note of love has an E at the end of it, so is now consciousness as well. If you can make the sound, this is what I mean about a word being continuous, one word. I read out my spell last week. Or was it? Yeah, it was. It was last week. All one word. One continuous word. No spaces.
Okay, I mean, I know this is a bit of a cliche, but you can't make this shit up, people.
I love cliches. Cliches are how we create the reality. Better yet, it's a cliche is a key. I can prove it in French and English. You ready for this? Actually, French and Greek. Clee can be pronounced origami. Now you can change the I to an E, so you have CLE, which is clé en français is key, and che, CHE. Oh, look, that's the Greek letter X, key. So cliché is the key. Do you see how magical this is? Just get busy with what you know. You don't see this. Someone posted something the other day. Actually, I got a clue out of it because there's a clue in everything. A nail in everything. I just pull a nail and use it in my own. Right? I use that to nail the system to its own cross. Every nail I get, it goes into the nail gun, 3 1/4 inch. Bam! There it goes. It's done. Right? Yeah. This whole. It was, I think it was Danish. It could have been Danish. Anyway, here's the trick to this. You have a master tongue that you use, a master tongue pledge, language, tongue pledge. That is your core. That's your heart, your core language. Now, if you know, if you speak a full second language, well done, excellent, because it's going to make it even easier for you to prove this to yourself. If you speak a couple of languages, you're just going to melt your mind and laugh your fool head off. I know I talk to people that speak multiple languages, and they go, holy fuck, this works in every language, translating back and forth. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're redefining it using all languages, because all languages have one thing in common: sound. Yeah. Find the common thread, and you own it. So the heart of your creation is your language. So I know a fair bit of French. I know smatterings of German, a little bit of Spanish, Egyptian. I use Egyptian too. Chem means black. Now you know what the chemtrails are. And they're trying to tell you the trail home is through the darkness, but you're too busy staring at the contrails, thinking they're a good thing. You see how the energy has been reversed?
Shifted.
And as soon as you start looking at chemtrails going, I get it, woohoo, guess what starts disappearing? You don't need to see them anymore because you get it. You're magically creating your reality by saying, I know what they mean now. And you have that power. You don't believe me, and that's okay. Go and try for yourself. You know, even David, the young Sorcerer's Apprentice, at the beginning as a little kid, couldn't believe anything he was seeing. It was all impossible to him, only to find out later. If you'd have told him at that time that he's going to be, he is the prime Merlinian, and that he's going to be able to cast magic without the ring on, he would have looked at you and called you crazy. But lo and behold, the impossible was inevitable.
Remove the doubt.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, the doubt gets removed very quickly when you... I tell you, if you get past a dozen words and you still have doubt, I'm going to call you a retard.
Yeah.
I really am, because it is this blatant. We got a couple of minutes left here, so toss a word out. Let's bust another word down so you can see the real hidden meanings in these things. And it's all hidden in the sound throughout all the languages, using your master tongue to decipher them. You have your decoding ring. You see, I don't need the ring anymore. I don't need the decoder ring, because it happens in real time now, and that's the allegory of the wizard not needing the ring anymore. I don't need the decoder.
You have the key to the Enigma machine.
Yeah. So do you. So does everybody. Do you want it? Here's how you get it. N-I-G. Okay. And you can use slang here, and I love using it. Right?
No rules.
No rules. And no one can be offended because it's fact. What is the name of... it was in a black bottle. It was a wine. Negro. Something Negro. All right? They say it that way. They think saying Negro is a bad thing, apparently. Negro, that means that your Christ consciousness is growing. You're in your Capricorn, knee growing. Yeah, tell me Negro is a bad word, idiots. There's no such thing as a bad word. That's why I love when people sit on the edge of their seat waiting for me to spew off something like, "What are you worried about, motherfucker? This is a universe of Oedipus Rex." right? Oh, the mother giving birth to the son. Okay, that's creation, magnetic mother, prodigal son, Horus, whatever you want to call it. And what happens from there? Well, in order to have creation, the son becomes a motherfucker. Literally. It's how energy works. It's a positive, negative, and it folds in against itself. So enigma. So nig. As soon as I see that, I can also change the I to an E. So it's now neg, which is divine feminine. Negative. Negative's not a bad word. It's not. It's a positive word. This is the paradox that we're in. It's beautiful when you see the singularity. En means mine.
What you just said there, Kate, was quite good because you're showing. Say it again. You can change the I to an E.
Yeah. Well, origami.
So you're starting.
If you can change the I to an E, well, inversely, the goose is gander, gander's goose. Then the E can also be an I. In reverse, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It works both ways. It's like I was saying before. If someone comes out now, if a human being can be a legal person, then therefore also a legal person must also can be a human being. So if you try to kill someone legally by asking for identification, you have committed premeditated murder 1 with intent to kill. That's a fact. So it works both ways. This is why they're caught in their own enigma. So N, the infinite mind, nig or neg, and there's my egg, my creation divine feminine, right? Ma, which is magnetic consciousness. Yeah, the enigma. And what was the enigma in World War II? Let's tie the allegory back. The enigma was the code machine that the German U-boats used that coded everything that was going out, coming from Germany to the U-boats to other U-boats, and only the captain had the key to that enigma machine. Only the captain could read the enigma, and perhaps one of his officers, his radio officer. So what's that telling you? Only the captain of the ship has the right to the enigma key. And you can be one of the crew members or captain your own ship. It's up to you.
Time to take hold of that rudder, baby.
Now look at that. U-boat. What is you? U is intent. What is boat? It's ship. What is ship? Mystically speaking, means mind. So the intent mind. That's what a U-boat is. And that's what you are. We're all U-boats. Same story, told in infinitely different ways. I can show anything in anything with this key. This is the master key.
Yeah,
if you want it, you got to sit down and
skeleton key.
It is. It is the skeleton key. And what is the skeleton? The skeleton, the bones, is Capricorn. Capricorn rules the Christ. That's December 25th, where the sun is born. Do you get this shit yet? How it ties back to itself? Do you go to skull or school? Well, two O's make an oo sound, which makes the U sound. So now you know what school is. It's their skull. It's their Antichrist. And this is the thing. Antichrist is alternating current. Christ is unconditional love. Time to center yourself, boys and girls. And on that happy note, I'm going to roll out of here, Mark, because we got Ben coming up. And just double check here to make sure. Yep, we're good. And
catch you later, Kate.
Yeah, well, I'm back on in a little over 3 hours. So about 3 hours and 15 minutes here. So if you want to tune in, you can tune in at criticalmassradio.co.uk. The links are sent out. You can come to the Blog Talk table if you want to call in via Skype. And I'd love to have you, and we'll continue the story. Mine is a never-ending story. I'm riding that dragon. And I really wish you would ride your own. Is that such a bad thing to wish for? I wish for you to have all of your creation back. I don't think it's
beautiful.
So bad.
Beautiful, Kate.
Okay, so much love to everybody, and we'll catch you guys in a new unit of Now in a few units of now from now. Isn't that fun? I love it. Don't forget, stay tuned here on criticalmassradio.co.uk with Ben coming up. And again, great big thank you to Paul Giovanni and the crew at criticalmassradio.co.uk. If you can flow, well, anything you do flow is going to be pure intent, and it's going to return 1,000-fold. That's the intention I place on anything that comes our way, because everything we're doing is coming your way. And it's beautiful. So much love to everybody, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Love you. Chat soon.
Love you.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Rolls Royce, yeah, that's Roy Say, the king of creation. Yeah, Roels, that's the spirit breath of intent into the king of creation. It sort of works, doesn't it? Yeah, inexpensive car, handmade no less. Anyway, he's racing along through New York streets, and he comes into a traffic jam, as you will in New York. The arteries in that heart city are choking itself to death. It's a coronary. Happens every day. The heart stops, right? Anyway, so this Rolls Royce rolls up to the back of this traffic jam, and right in front of him is a cab that stops. Cab driver gets out. Like any good cab driver that's driving the divine feminine home, gets out of the cab, comes around the other side, and opens the door for an elderly lady who gets out. And of course, David's going, oh, figures, and then, lo and behold, the cab driver reaches in to get the walker out. And then he says, oh, of course, it has to be a walker. So, you see, the more you resist these things, the more these traffic jams you're setting up for yourself. You're adding weight to the weight. It's not a coincidence that those words mean the same thing. So what it's trying to teach you is this. When you allow creation to be your pilot, when you allow the Ka-Be, the spirit of the Christ consciousness, to be your driver, when Aladdin says, do you trust me? And you say yes, get on the magic carpet, and everything is perfect. You allow all things. You don't put terms on them, because when you start honking the horn, you are turning the cab meter on. And that's the weight, the W-E-I-G-H-T, that you're adding to your fare. The Fa-Ri, that's the root note of the light of God within. You're adding the weight to that fare. And you will pay the price with your impatience. So just let things be. I don't get in a panic about anything, because everything is perfect. I came on the air exactly when I was supposed to, because universe sets me up for perfect timing, and I simply accept that. It's okay. Everything in my reality is for a reason. I know this. Everything in my reality is perfect timing. I know this. And the left brain doesn't have a chance in this game. And yes, indeed, it is me and time against the world. The spiral. I can wait. The first prize is always worth it. When you learn that, then you can start collecting the Cupid dolls of a different nature instead of all of the pains and sufferings that you, slings and arrows of outrageous fortune that everyone goes around. And that's a difference of to be or not to be. When you're in a position of taking the wheel and turning the meter on, telling the cabbie to take the scenic route off the main trail that's taking you home. Oh yeah, you'll pay that price. That's a fact. Anyway, we got Ninja back here, and let's skip this back and forth. 7-course meal, luxurious in all of its finery, with the chefs and the sauciers, and the fine aperitifs and desserts and all of the rest of it, and they're expecting to get that at a McDonald's fucking drive-thru. That's not how it works, people. So, aphorism number 55. Wait. Now pay attention to this. This is telling you everything you really need to know. So I don't have any problems. What I have are things that I'm looking at in terms of perfect timing. I'll give you a couple of examples of this. Things that you've done, things that I've done to see this contrast. So, wait. It's a sign of a noble heart, dowered with patience. Never to be in a hurry. Never to be in a passion, emotional. First, be master over yourself, if you would be master over others. You must pass through the circumference of time before arriving at the center of opportunity. A wise reserve seasons the aims and matures the means. Time's crutch affects more than the iron club of Hercules. God himself chasteneth not with a rod, but with time. Remember your God, and him is heme, feminine, the divine feminine, say, which is creation, intent through the divine feminine. F becomes the S, etc., etc., etc. This is where you become, instead of being God's elf, you become God's self. And the allegories abound here. So this is what was quoted. He spake a great word who said, Time and I against any two. Fortune herself rewards with the first prize. That's how it works. Oh, it looks like we got Ninja on the board. Get that mic opened. And we'll say hello to Ninja, and then we'll get a little deeper into the importance of seeing perfect timing instead of, hurry up, get out of my way, that mentality. Yeah, we'll show you how to balance that nonsense out so that you can actually get in a place of peace and breathe. Oh, Ninja's having some issues with the internet, so he just got bounced. Okay, so I'll carry on here. You see, it's your job to wait. Phonetically, Job, same thing. Just depends on how you pronoun say it, right? For my creation in the now. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I can get into all the phonetic reasons as to why how supersedes what. What is just the electricity, it's just the energy. How is the creation into it. Give you an example. Towards the end, it happens all through the movie, but there was a prime example of what I'm trying to share with you today. When the main character, the sorcerer's apprentice, David, was racing to try and save Balthazar at the end of the movie, his mentor. And of course he finds himself driving this beautiful roll. Well, hello, I'm not even sure if I'm on the air. I'll wait for Paul to let me know if I am or not. No intro music right now. Oh, there we go. The net's been a bit buggy here, so here, let me do the intro, because it just wouldn't be a show without it, wouldn't it? All right, here we go. Yeah, everything's perfect. Everyone's in such a hurry. Let me see. I just know the universe is setting me up for perfect timing every time, so there's no impatience in that. It's beautiful. Anyway, here's Only Hearts. Listen to it with Phoenician ears, and you'll actually hear the song. It's pretty cool, actually. Amazing what we know but aren't aware of when we know it. So here you go. Only Hearts, and we'll see you on the other side.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Yeah, I always like the few minutes of the intro song, etc., to sit back and contemplate where I want to go and which direction, and of course the direction always shows up. Many of you are probably familiar with the allegory of the story contained within having the patience of Job. And you see, these are vital life lessons to take into yourself. And then when you do, then you see the bigger picture of what it's really trying to tell you. So the story of the patience of Job is simply this. It was the story of an individual that had everything, was the wealthiest, blah, blah, blah. And as a test, quote, God, unquote, took all of that away and left him with nothing. And what did Job do? Well, Job knew that, the first magnetic electric intent into the goddess mind, you might call it million. I just know what it means from an energetic, right? Well, MI can be pronounced me, like origami, MI at the end of that, yeah? So we just changed that to the E because I redefine my reality as I see fit. No one tells me what words mean to me. I define them as I cast the spells. And that's what they are. Every word is a spell, and contained within every word is a spell of some other intent that you were not aware of. So you got to be aware of these things, and you'll find how to change the intent through the sound. If you can make something sound like another letter, another word that has another definition, you'll find the magic contained in how to weave a negative into a positive. So that nothing in these words works against you any longer. So the patience of Job is quite simple. Good things come to those who wait. There was an aphorism that I posted. I get these things in from my emails typically every day. It's Balthasar's Wisdom. Anyway, this one is the aphorism number 55, which is wait. And coincidentally, I was talking about exactly that earlier this morning. And the universe always comes around and confirms that the path is perfect. And when you start to see the perfect path, you have no fear. Everything is presented to you, but everyone's in too big a hurry to, they want this beautiful clarity. So serve becomes surf. Now you'll understand what a feud-all system is. What is a feud? Well, a feud is a fight between two people or a family. The Hatfields and the McCoys, if you will. They even made a game show called The Family Feud, where they pitted two families against each other. Again, that's reinforcing the whole competition. Play the game, play the game, play the game, and all along, those that are playing in that don't realize that they're the ones being played, and it keeps them in that competitive state and will never reach a singularity because they are polarized, they are divided and conquered. They have no idea that there is a unification of energies that they are vehemently fighting against. It really, when you get there, it's so simple you wonder how you didn't. Yeah, go ahead, Ninj.
Yeah, the feudal system, the the all fighting amongst themselves system is still very much alive and well in most people's reality, it seems. Not for mine, but not for yours, obviously. Just like the old, bread and circuses, the sort of Roman, what do you call it, Colosseum, the games, the whole thing. We have it all the time. The Olympics, the Winter Olympics we just had in I don't even know where I won't watch it, but,
well,
I know it happened, and everybody's pissed off because people are not getting the medals they're supposed to. And it's causing arguments and fights, and everybody's getting hate mail, and oh my gosh,
No, see, I don't. All I see is the conflict that is being created with the truth that is being flowed. I mean, it's so key, right? So the key, so life, and of course.
Oh, Kate, I have to stop you in mid-breath. My goodness, I've written that on my notepad. You are inside my head today. That is creepy.
There's only one mind. What's creepy about love?
I know, but you just said so key. What exactly do I have written on my page? I have so key. Mm-hmm. Actually written on my page. I wrote it before the show started, only just before. And I've put stroke IO, stroke 10, stroke X, because I wanted to tell everybody that we have had a visit this week. What day is it? No, last week, from the first red fox we've seen, any fox we've seen on this land. And then a couple of days later, a different one, also red fox, came along. Now, fox, F, can be an S, so now we've got red fox. Now, so key, come along. And then you just said it, and I hadn't even had a chance to share that with you. There you go.
Again, these are the magical things.
And it was marking its scent. Yeah. It was marking its scent. We were watching, we took some photos, and we were also watching through the binoculars, and the first one just ran across and went up and away, and then the next day this other one came, and I know it was a different one because the first one had some slight damage to the tail.
Okay, well, let's stay on
to the note of love, ailing.
Ninja,
and
Ninja, we've got a time delay here. Let's stay on the scent of the trail, right? So look at what nature. Look what nature is telling you.
Okay.
It's saying the sow key.
Whoa.
Okay, so we have sown, as in to sow the seeds of life. We have sowed life into the say creation. But how are you doing, hon?
Hi, Kate. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, baby.
Oh, perfect. Loud and clear and everything. Yeah. How's it going?
Oh, great. Yeah. I mean, last night I uncovered a couple of words for people that really I got a lot of feedback on it, really gave them some insight into why words work the way they do. I can prove every definition with phonics. It's very easy.
I actually heard a little bit of last night's show. Do you know, all the days run together. I can't remember which day it is. I don't know what time it is. I certainly forget often what month it is. Just totally just swimming in my own little world, you know. And these little moments of checking in, like on a Tuesday or, you know, whatever, suddenly you think, oh, is it already Tuesday? Oh, is it already nearly end of it? Oh, my goodness, really? Where's it all going? I don't know. It's interesting, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really the only thing that keeps me in any form of a schedule at all. It's like, you know, when am I supposed to be where? And that's really about it. And the other side of that coin is, if the universe says I'm not to be there, I don't stress about it. Someone will be. I mean, this is a table of the universe. Don't worry, God will show up in all its forms, be it through me or another point of view, me. So, again, this is really the space for me. I've been through it. I sent off a nice little spell today because I was in the mood for a little bit of low-key fun, you know. I like handing things back. I love catch-22s. They, you know, that's the damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, in the same way that I would say to somebody, keep thinking that, if you want, I'll actually read the letters. I read the one to the Special Investigations Unit, the two guys. I never heard back from them. I didn't expect to. I might this time, but who cares? I don't care either way because my reality is what I create, and it will not be interfered with. Anyone that's serving an external master, you know, any cop or whatever that gets a paycheck, a mayor, or any. You see, they have a master. I don't. I am the master. So that's the joy of this, because these feigned delusional positions that people hold through titles and offices, they're just illusions. They were granted to them by another. It's not theirs. It's not their creation. They're sitting in a false impersonation of themselves within that title. So how powerful is that? Well, it's not. You see, that's for me the lowest in terms of servant. Now, there's an equal and opposite in servant, where it is a powerful beauty and it's a powerful ugliness. And the ones that are operating in title form are operating through the ugliness of what a servant is. It's a serf-ent, which is V, well, of, O-F, you can spell it UV, ultraviolet, because that's what it means. That's the phonics contained in it. So anytime I see an F, I can insert a V, and anytime I see a V, I can insert an F, because it can make that sound. I follow the rules by breaking the rules, because there are no rules, and they're all rules at the same time. It's a singular